The gleaming black Ford Taurus that carried Robocop through crime-ridden Detroit became one of cinema's most iconic vehicles. But the car almost never made it to the screen. From rejected Batmobile-style prototypes to Peter Weller driving in his underwear, the story behind Robocop's police cruiser is filled with unexpected twists, production mishaps, and bizarre behind-the-scenes secrets that even die-hard fans don't know. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about Robocop's Ford Taurus police cruiser. Fact 1. The Taurus was a last-minute replacement. When production began on Robocop in 1986, director Paul Verhoeven and his team had already commissioned a custom-built police vehicle that would serve as the futuristic ride for their cybernetic hero. This specially designed car was called the Turbo Car, though some crew members referred to it as the Robocar, and it was meant to be the automotive equivalent of something straight out of a comic book. The design was handled by Robert Webb, and the actual construction was done by J. Orberg Show Cars, a company known for creating wild custom vehicles for Hollywood productions. The Turbo Car was built around the chassis of a second-generation Chevrolet Camaro, but from there, it became something entirely different. The car featured an aggressive aerodynamic nose, dramatically flared fenders, and the traditional black and white police color scheme. But the most outrageous feature was the twin turbine exhausts mounted in the rear, which were designed to shoot actual flames up to 20 feet out the back of the vehicle. 6 of these elaborate cars were built and delivered to the Robocop set, ready to roll in front of the cameras. However, when the turbo cars actually arrived on set early in production, something unexpected happened. The cast and crew took one look at these Batmobile-style creations and realized they had a serious problem on their hands. The cars looked too ridiculous and over the top to be believable in the film's world. Some sources suggest the finished builds simply didn't meet expectations, while others point to potential contract disputes between the production and the car builders. Whatever the exact reason, the decision was made quickly and definitively. The turbo cars would not be used in Robocop. This left Verhoeven scrambling to find a replacement vehicle that could serve as the Detroit Police Department's cruiser, and he needed to find it fast. That's when fate intervened in the form of a brand new Ford Taurus driving past the set, setting the stage for one of the most iconic car movie pairings in cinema history. Fact 2. 6 custom cars were built and never used. Before the Ford Taurus became Robocop's iconic police cruiser, the production team had something completely different in mind, a wild, over-the-top custom vehicle that would have looked right at home in a Batman movie. The original plan called for a specially designed car that went by 2 names, the Turbo Car and the Robocar, and the production spared no expense in bringing this futuristic vision to life. The job of building these elaborate vehicles went to J. Orberg Show Cars, a company known for creating custom cars for Hollywood productions. Designer Robert Webb came up with the concept, and the team got to work constructing not just one prototype, but 6 complete turbo cars. Each vehicle was built around the chassis of a second-generation Chevrolet Camaro, which gave the cars a solid foundation to work with. But from there, the customization went completely wild. The turbo car design featured traditional black and white police car paint, which made sense for a cop vehicle. But that's where the conventional choices ended. The cars had dramatically flared fenders that gave them an aggressive, road-hugging stance. The front end was completely reworked with an aerodynamic nose that looked like something from a science fiction movie. But the most outrageous feature was mounted at the rear. Twin turbine exhausts that weren't just for show. They were actually designed to shoot flames up to 20 feet out the back of the car. These weren't subtle movie prop flames either, but genuine fire effects that would have made quite an impression on screen. All 6 of these expensive, elaborately constructed vehicles were delivered to the Robocop set, ready for their moment in the spotlight. But when director Paul Verhoeven and the production team saw them in person, the decision was swift and brutal. The cars looked too ridiculous to use in the film. Whether it was the over-the-top Batmobile styling, a potential contract dispute with the builders, or simply that the cars didn't fit the tone Verhoeven wanted, all 6 turbo cars were rejected outright. Not a single frame of footage was ever shot with them, leaving these flame-shooting customs as one of Hollywood's most expensive unused props. Fact 3. Director spotted the Taurus by chance. The Ford Taurus that became synonymous with Robocop almost never happened, and it all came down to perfect timing and a stroke of luck on the film set. After the original custom turbo car prototypes were rejected for being too over-the-top, director Paul Verhoeven found himself in a difficult position, needing replacement police vehicles quickly while production was already underway. The solution arrived in the most unexpected way possible when Verhoeven simply happened to see a brand new Ford Taurus driving past the set one day. The car had only just been released to the public in late 1985 as a 1986 model, so it was still an unfamiliar sight on American roads at the time. Verhoeven was immediately struck by the Taurus's sleek, aerodynamic design, which featured smooth curves and composite headlights that looked genuinely futuristic compared to the boxy, angular cars that dominated the mid-1980s. The lack of a traditional grille and the car's jelly bean-like shape gave it an appearance that felt ahead of its time, which was exactly what Verhoeven needed for a movie set in a near-future dystopian Detroit. Without hesitation, he made the decision right then and there to use the Taurus as Robocop's police cruiser. Verhoeven quickly ordered more than a dozen of these brand new vehicles directly from Ford dealerships for the production, and the film crew set about modifying them with matte black paint, push bars, roof-mounted light bars, and spotlights to transform them into police vehicles. This spontaneous decision turned out to be one of the most iconic vehicle choices in science fiction cinema history, cementing the first-generation Ford Taurus as forever linked to Robocop in popular culture. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, as the Taurus's fresh, unconventional design perfectly captured the film's vision of a corporate-controlled future without requiring expensive custom fabrication work. Fact 4. The Taurus made its movie debut in Robocop. When Robocop hit theaters in 1987, audiences were introduced to more than just a cyborg law enforcer. They also witnessed the big-screen debut of Ford's revolutionary new sedan. The first-generation Ford Taurus made its very first appearance in any movie through Robocop, and this wasn't some carefully planned product placement deal or a collaboration that had been in the works for months. Instead, it happened almost by accident, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect for creating an unexpected piece of automotive and cinema history. The Ford Taurus had only just launched in late December of 1985 as a 1986 model, making it one of the newest cars on American roads when Robocop began filming. The production team needed futuristic-looking police vehicles quickly after their original custom-built cars were rejected, and director Paul Verhoeven happened to spot brand-new Taurus sedans that had literally just started appearing in dealerships. The car's radical aerodynamic design, with its curved body lines and flush composite headlights, looked like nothing else on the road at that time, which made it perfect for a science fiction film set in a near-future Detroit. This meant that when moviegoers saw Robocop driving those sleek black Taurus police cruisers through the streets, they were looking at a vehicle that many people hadn't even seen in person yet. The Taurus was so new that Ford was still trying to convince the public that its unusual jelly bean shape represented the future of automotive design. Having it featured as the official police car in a major Hollywood movie, even one as violent as Robocop, gave millions of people their first glimpse of Ford's groundbreaking sedan before they ever saw one at their local dealership. The movie essentially served as the Taurus's unofficial introduction to pop culture, cementing its status as a symbol of futuristic design long before it became one of America's best-selling cars. Fact 5. Ford was furious about the association. When Robocop hit theaters in 1987, Ford Motor Company executives were blindsided by what they saw on screen. The automaker had absolutely no involvement with the film's production, meaning they had never approved, sponsored, or even been consulted about using their brand-new Taurus sedan as the primary police vehicle in one of the most violent movies of the decade. Ford discovered their cars were starring in Robocop the same way everyone else did, by watching the movie after it was released. And they were not happy about it. The timing couldn't have been worse for Ford's marketing team. The Taurus had only just launched in December of 1985 as a 1986 model, representing a massive gamble for the struggling automaker. Ford had invested billions of dollars developing this radically aerodynamic sedan, hoping it would save the company from bankruptcy and compete with the increasingly popular Japanese imports flooding the American market. The Taurus was supposed to represent Ford's future, a sleek, modern, family-friendly vehicle that would restore the company's reputation for innovation and quality. Instead, here was their flagship car, appearing in a brutally violent science fiction film filled with graphic shootouts, exploding bodies, and disturbing scenes of corporate corruption. Robocop earned its R rating through scenes that were shockingly gory, even by 80s action movie standards. And Ford executives worried that associating their wholesome new sedan with such extreme violence would seriously damage the car's carefully crafted image. The company feared that potential buyers, especially families and conservative customers, would see the Taurus and think of blood-soaked dystopian Detroit rather than safe, reliable transportation. Production designer records indicate that director Paul Verhoeven simply ordered more than a dozen Taurus sedans after spotting one on the street, with the film's producers purchasing the vehicles outright from dealerships without ever contacting Ford for permission or partnership. The automaker had no legal grounds to stop the film from using cars they had legitimately purchased, leaving Ford's marketing department frustrated and powerless as their brand new model became forever linked with Robocop's ultra-violent world. Fact 6. Peter Weller drove in his underwear. Here's the most surprising thing about those iconic shots of Robocop behind the wheel of his police cruiser. Peter Weller wasn't actually wearing the full suit. When it came time to film scenes where Robocop needed to sit inside the Ford Taurus, the production team quickly discovered they had a serious problem. The Robocop suit, with all its bulky armor plating and mechanical components, was simply too massive for Weller to squeeze into the driver's seat of the car. The suit added so much width and rigidity to his body that he physically couldn't fit through the door opening or sit down properly in the vehicle's interior. The solution the crew came up with was both practical and completely absurd. For any shot that required Robocop to actually be seated inside the Taurus, Peter Weller would only wear the top half of his costume, the chest plate, arm pieces, and helmet, while from the waist down, he sat in nothing but his underwear or boxer shorts. This meant that throughout the filming of Robocop, whenever you saw the character driving through the streets of Detroit or sitting in his patrol car, the actor portraying him was half naked below the camera's view. To keep audiences from noticing this wardrobe compromise, the filmmakers had to get creative with their camera angles and editing choices. Most shots involving Robocop and the police car were carefully framed to show him either getting out of the vehicle or preparing to get in, but rarely sitting fully inside with the door closed. When the scene absolutely required him to be shown inside the car, the camera would focus on his upper body or show close-ups of his hands on the steering wheel. The production team also made sure to film his distinctive robotic feet exiting the car first in many scenes, which helped maintain the illusion that he was wearing the complete suit at all times. This clever trick meant that audiences had no idea they were watching a half-costumed cyborg cop cruise through the city. Fact 7. Movie tricks hid the costume problem. When you watch Robocop, you might notice something strange about the scenes involving the police car. You almost never see Robocop actually getting into or out of the vehicle in a normal way. This wasn't an artistic choice or a stylistic decision by director Paul Verhoeven. It was actually a clever workaround for a major practical problem that the production team discovered early in filming. The full Robocop costume that Peter Weller wore was so bulky and rigid that he physically could not fit inside the Ford Taurus police cruiser while wearing it. The suit added so much width and height to Weller's frame that squeezing into the driver's seat became impossible, and trying to maneuver his armored body through the car door simply wouldn't work without damaging either the costume or the vehicle. To solve this problem, the filmmakers had to get creative with their camera angles and editing. If you pay close attention to the movie, you'll notice that most shots involving Robocop and the car are carefully framed to hide this limitation. The camera will show Robocop's distinctive robotic feet stepping out of the vehicle first, establishing that he was inside, and then cut to him standing fully upright outside the car. Similarly, when he approaches the Taurus, the shots typically show him walking toward the vehicle or reaching for the door handle. But then the scene cuts away before he actually climbs inside. These carefully planned transitions maintain the illusion that Robocop wore his complete suit at all times, even while driving through the streets of Detroit. The production crew became experts at using quick cuts, strategic camera placement, and clever framing to work around this constraint throughout the entire film. It's a testament to their skill that most viewers never noticed this trick, even after multiple viewings. The workaround was so effective that it became standard practice for all three Robocop movies, with each sequel continuing to use the same technique of showing exits and entries without revealing the full process of Robocop getting in or out of his police cruiser. Fact 8. Catching car keys. Took 50 takes sometimes the smallest details in filmmaking end up causing the biggest headaches, and that's exactly what happened with one seemingly simple scene in Robocop. The moment where Robocop casually catches a set of car keys that get tossed to him looks effortless on screen, lasting barely a second. But filming that brief shot turned into an all-day nightmare that required up to 50 takes to get right. The problem wasn't Peter Weller's acting or the camera work, it was the Robocop suit itself, specifically the hands and gloves that were constructed from foam rubber to give the character that mechanical, robotic appearance. The scene takes place after Bob Morton explains that Robocop needs a car, and the chief of police tosses him a set of keys. Robocop is supposed to snatch them out of the air like the efficient crime-fighting machine he is, then head out to patrol the streets. It should have been one of the easiest shots in the entire production, the kind of thing most actors could nail in a couple of takes. But every single time the keys were thrown toward Peter Weller, they would bounce right off those foam rubber hands and clatter to the floor. The material simply couldn't grip the metal keys properly, no matter how many times they tried or how carefully Weller positioned his hands. The production crew spent an entire day working on this 1-second moment, trying different techniques and angles to make it work. Take after take, the keys would sail through the air, hit Weller's robotic hands, and bounce away. The foam material was essential for the suit's appearance and movement, but it created an unexpected practical problem that nobody had anticipated during the design phase. Finally, after around 50 attempts and hours of frustration, they managed to capture the shot where Weller successfully caught the keys. That brief moment of Robocop looking like a smooth, capable officer ended up being one of the most technically difficult and time-consuming shots involving the Taurus in the entire film. Fact 9. The headlights were custom modified. When you watch the original 1987 Robocop film, one of the most distinctive visual features of the police cruisers is their unusual headlights, which look noticeably different from standard Ford Taurus models you would have seen on dealer lots at the time. The production team actually modified the headlights on the movie cars by installing custom round 4-eyes headlights behind clear plastic covers, replacing the standard composite headlight units that came factory installed on regular Taurus sedans. This modification was specifically designed to give the police vehicles a more futuristic and aggressive appearance that would fit the dystopian near-future setting of the film. And it's one of those subtle details that separates the movie cars from their civilian counterparts. The standard 1986 Ford Taurus came equipped with composite headlights that had an integrated turn signal and parking light built into the same housing, which was a modern design feature for its time. However, the filmmakers wanted something that looked more advanced and intimidating for their fictional Detroit Metro Police vehicles. So they opted to retrofit the cars with these custom round headlights that gave the Taurus a completely different character. The Four Eyes setup refers to the configuration of having four circular headlight elements arranged in the front of the car, all protected behind a single clear plastic cover panel on each side of the vehicle. Interestingly, this headlight modification was only used in the first Robocop movie. When the sequels were produced, the production teams reverted to using standard Taurus headlights, likely because the custom modification was expensive and time-consuming to replicate across multiple vehicles. Sharp-eyed fans who watch all three films in sequence can immediately spot this difference, as the police cruisers in Robocop 2 and Robocop 3 feature the normal factory headlights that you would find on any Taurus from that era, making the original film's vehicles even more unique and collectible among movie car enthusiasts. Fact 10. Different Taurus models caused continuity errors. Movie continuity errors are nothing new, but Robocop 3 managed to pull off an especially bizarre one involving the police cruiser that sharp-eyed car enthusiasts caught immediately. During the film's opening chase sequence, the same police car that Robocop is supposedly driving somehow transforms into three completely different Ford Taurus models within a single scene, creating an impossible automotive shape-shifting act that defies all logic. The chase begins with Robocop behind the wheel of a 1986 to 1988 Taurus L model, which you can identify by its black steel wheels and solid red taillights. But as the action continues and the camera cuts between different angles, the car mysteriously morphs into a 1990 to 1991 Taurus L model, which had different styling and updated features. Then, just to make things even more confusing, the same vehicle transforms yet again into a 1986 to 1988 Taurus GL model, which is distinguishable by its amber turn signals in the rear lights. This wasn't a case of multiple police cars being involved in the chase. These were supposed to be shots of the exact same vehicle that Robocop was driving throughout the sequence. The production team for Robocop 3 apparently used whatever Taurus models they had available without worrying too much about matching them up, assuming that most viewers wouldn't notice or care about the specific year and trim level differences. They were mostly right, since casual moviegoers watching the film in theaters in 1993 probably didn't catch the switches, but dedicated Ford Taurus enthusiasts and car buffs spotted the errors immediately and documented them thoroughly. The continuity problem likely came down to budget constraints and the availability of vehicles during filming. By the time Robocop 3 went into production, finding multiple identical 1986 Taurus LX models like those used in the original film would have been difficult and expensive, so the production team made do with whatever black Taurus police cars they could get their hands on, creating one of the franchise's most noticeable automotive continuity failures. Fact 11. Ford eventually embraced the Robocop connection. When Robocop hit theaters in 1987, Ford Motor Company was not happy about their brand new Taurus being featured in such a violent and gory film. The automaker had launched the Taurus just a year earlier with high hopes for its futuristic design, and they worried that association with exploding bodies and dystopian crime would damage the car's family-friendly image. Ford had no involvement with the film's production and didn't provide any vehicles or sponsorship, forcing the filmmakers to purchase more than a dozen Taurus sedans on their own. The company's executives were genuinely concerned that moviegoers would forever link their revolutionary sedan with Robocop's brutal world of corporate corruption and extreme violence. But something unexpected happened after the movie became a massive hit. The sleek black Taurus police cruisers didn't hurt the car's reputation at all. They actually made it look incredibly cool. Audiences loved seeing the futuristic sedan patrolling the streets of future Detroit, and the association with high-tech law enforcement gave the Taurus an edgy, modern appeal that Ford couldn't have bought with any advertising campaign. Police departments across America started taking notice of the car's commanding presence on screen, and Ford quickly realized they had stumbled into brilliant marketing. By 1990, just 3 years after publicly distancing themselves from Robocop, Ford completely reversed course and began offering an official Taurus police package. The package lasted through 1995 and featured modifications specifically designed for law enforcement use, including a special front grille with 8 openings that wasn't available on civilian models. After discontinuing the police package, Ford brought it back again in 2013 with the Taurus Police Interceptor sedan, which replaced the legendary Crown Victoria as their flagship police vehicle. The 2013 reintroduction came at almost the same time as the Robocop reboot, and production designers for that film deliberately chose the Taurus Police Interceptor as a tribute to the original movie. What started as corporate embarrassment had come full circle, with Ford ultimately embracing and profiting from the Robocop connection that had once made their executives furious. Fact 12. An original movie car is on museum display. If you're a fan of Robocop and you happen to find yourself in Branson, Missouri, you can actually see one of the original Ford Taurus police cars from the 1987 film in person. The car is on permanent display at the Branson Auto Museum, which is also known as the Celebrity Car Museum or the Velvet Collection. This museum is located in the lower level of Dick Clark's American Bandstand Theater, right on the famous 76 Strip, and it houses over 100 vehicles from Hollywood's biggest movies and television series. The Robocop Taurus sits among an impressive collection that includes everything from the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future to KITT from Knight Rider, the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, and vehicles from the Fast and Furious franchise. What makes this museum particularly special is that approximately 95% of the cars on display are actual screen-used vehicles that were filmed in the movies themselves, not just replicas or tribute cars. The Velvet family, who owns the collection, had been gathering celebrity memorabilia and famous vehicles for many years before opening the Branson location in 2012, starting with Elvis Presley museums and memorabilia before eventually focusing on screen-used cars. The original 1986 Ford Taurus LX that's on display features the same matte black paint job, push bar with auxiliary lighting, roof-mounted light bar and spotlight, and Detroit Police logos that appeared in the film. Inside, visitors can see the onboard computer and high-tech dashboard equipment that was installed for the movie. The car originally had a 3.0-liter V6 engine paired with a 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission. For movie fans and car enthusiasts alike, seeing this piece of cinema history up close offers a rare opportunity to examine the details of a vehicle that helped define the look of a classic science fiction film. And the museum makes it accessible to anyone passing through the Branson area. Fact 13. The dashboard tech was barely shown. When the production team modified the Ford Taurus sedans for Robocop, they equipped them with some genuinely impressive futuristic technology that went far beyond just slapping on a light bar and a push bumper. The police cruisers featured elaborate onboard computer systems and dashboard-mounted weapon arsenals that were meant to showcase the high-tech world of Detroit's police force in the near future. The original plan was for these advanced computer displays and tactical equipment to play a significant role throughout the film, giving audiences a clear view of the technological integration between Robocop and his vehicle. However, when the first Robocop movie was released in 1987, viewers barely got to see any of this high-tech dashboard equipment in action during the actual film. The decision to downplay the dashboard technology wasn't part of the original creative vision, but rather became a practical choice during production and editing. While the cars were fully outfitted with these futuristic displays and weapon systems, the scenes that would have showcased them, either weren't filmed extensively or ended up on the cutting room floor. This meant that all the work and detail that went into creating these elaborate dashboard setups remained largely invisible to audiences who saw the first movie. It wasn't until Robocop 3 was released that filmmakers finally gave proper screen time to the onboard computers and dashboard technology that had been built into the police cruisers from the very beginning. By the third film, viewers could actually see the data screens, computer interfaces, and tactical displays that were supposed to be a defining feature of Detroit's futuristic police vehicles. The technology had been there all along in the earlier films, waiting in the background, but it took until the third installment for audiences to finally get a good look at the detailed dashboard arsenal and computer systems that the production designers had created years before. Fact 14. The 2014 reboot honored the original. When the Robocop remake hit theaters in 2014, the filmmakers faced a challenging decision about how to handle one of the original film's most memorable elements: the police car. Instead of going in a completely different direction or ignoring the legacy of the 1987 classic, production designer Martin Wist and his team chose to pay tribute to the iconic Ford Taurus by bringing it back, but with a futuristic twist that fit the reboot setting in the year 2028. The production team selected the 2013 Ford Taurus Police Interceptor as their base vehicle, which was already being used by real police departments across America at the time. But they didn't just use the cars straight off the lot. Wist and his crew modified the Taurus sedans with custom body panels, including tapered wheel arches, redesigned bumpers, and other futuristic additions that made the vehicles look just slightly more advanced than contemporary police cars. The goal was to strike a delicate balance between looking futuristic enough for a movie set roughly 15 years in the future, but not so outlandish that the cars seemed implausible or disconnected from reality. In interviews about the film, Wist explained that he was specifically looking for affordable vehicle body styles that had a naturally aggressive and muscular stance on the road. He noted that while he considered other options like the Dodge Charger, which was already popular with police departments, he ultimately chose the Taurus for two key reasons. First, it had exactly the right look he wanted for the film's near-future Detroit setting. Second, and perhaps more importantly, it was the same car that appeared in the original 1987 Robocop, making it a perfect homage that longtime fans would immediately recognize and appreciate. This decision to honor the original while updating it for modern audiences showed that even though Ford hadn't sponsored either film, the Taurus had become inseparable from the Robocop legacy. Fact 15. Replica builders got creative. The Ford Taurus police cruiser from Robocop didn't just become a movie icon. It inspired countless fans to build their own versions of the futuristic patrol car, and some of these replicas have become remarkable pieces of fan craftsmanship in their own right. Over the years, dedicated enthusiasts have taken first-generation Taurus sedans from the 1980s and transformed them into near-perfect recreations of the Detroit Metro West police vehicles that Robocop drove through the streets of Motor City. These replica builders sourced genuine 1986 and 1987 Taurus models, then carefully modify them with matte black paint, push bars with auxiliary lighting, roof-mounted light bars and spotlights, blacked-out hubcaps, and authentic-looking Detroit police door logos to match what appeared on screen. Some even go the extra mile by installing working onboard computers and CB radios inside to recreate the high-tech dashboard setup that was featured in the films. One particularly notable replica has an extraordinary story behind it. This 1987 Ford Taurus LX replica was built by a dedicated fan and became so accurate to the movie version that it was used at a Robocop anniversary event where the original star of the film, Peter Weller, was in attendance. During this special celebration, Weller himself signed the dashboard of this fan-built replica, turning it into a one-of-a-kind piece of Robocop memorabilia. The car reportedly looks so convincing that it captures the exact spirit of the original movie vehicles, complete with all the distinctive features that made the Robocop Taurus so memorable to audiences. These replicas have occasionally appeared for sale on platforms like eBay Motors, where fans and collectors can bid on these custom-built tributes to one of science fiction cinema's most recognizable vehicles. Some builders focus on recreating the look from the first movie with its custom headlights and LX trim details, while others prefer the slightly different appearance of the cars used in the sequels, giving collectors different options depending on which version of the Robocop Taurus they remember most fondly from their childhood. From their childhood.